important attending a Catholic school with a prayer. The center, the spinal cord of who we are, it was prayer that saw us through to being here throughout our lives and to be here tonight. And we give a special welcome to Deacon Jeffers Paul with the opening prayer. Please stay standing and welcome Deacon Jeffers Paul with the opening prayer.
God is good all the time. And all the time. God is good. If that clap was for me, it was too much, but if it was for God, it was not enough. God is good all the time. Congratulations to the class of 1974-75. Amen. I may have been conceived in December of 1974 and born in September of 1975. So that will give you an idea of my age. And so I'm a proud graduate of St. Mary's. Amen. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to us. For he has done great things. Bless his holy name. He has done great things. Bless his holy name. He has done great things. Bless his holy name. Come on and bless the Lord. Bless the Lord now. Let all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Come on and bless the Lord. My God, oh my soul, let all now. My God, that is within me. Bless his holy name. For he has done great things. Bless his holy name. He has done great things. Bless his holy name. He has done great things. Bless his holy name. Come on and bless the Lord. Oh, bless the Lord now. Come on, sing with me. Let all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Come on and bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. My God. Let all now. My God, that is within me. Bless his holy name. Let us pray. The Bible says in Psalm 92 verse 1, it is good to give thanks to the Lord. And so, Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with grateful hearts, thankful for the gift of life, of friendship, and the many years you have granted us. As the SMA class of 1974-75, we gather once more, not just to reminisce, but to celebrate the journey you have led us through. Lord, we thank you for the blessings that have shaped our lives, for the joys and triumphs, for the lessons learned through challenges and the bonds of friendship that time has not broken. We remember with love and gratitude our classmates, teachers, and mentors who have gone before us. May they rest in your eternal peace. As we spend this evening in reflection, fill our hearts with peace, humility, and gratitude. Help us see your hand in all our experiences and renew in us a spirit of faith, love, and hope, so that we may continue to live with purpose and compassion. Bless this evening's gathering, O Lord, the food we share, the laughter we exchange, and the memories we cherish. May your presence be felt in our midst tonight and always. In Jesus' name, amen. Spirit.
A round of applause for Deacon Jeffers Paul, and you may please sit. And just before we call for some special remarks by the chairperson of the special SMA alumni reunion, who were members of St. Ignatius House? Can you raise your hand? St. Ignatius House, St. Michael's, St. George's, St. Francis. It gives us great pleasure to call on the chairman, Mr. Alvin Thomas, the chairperson for the SMA Alumni Reunion, to give us a few words. Mr. Alvin Thomas, make you feel welcome.
It's okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. Good evening. SMA. SMA. All right. I would like to recognize with us this evening His Excellency Elud Williams, former President of the Commonwealth of Dominica. We also have in our midst, and by the way, Excellency Williams is an SMA old boy as well. And we also have in our midst former Ambassador to the OAS in CARICOM, Mr. Felix Gregoire. We have also in our midst Brother Egbert German, former principal. We have also Henry Volney, former teacher, our history teacher. That tells you how long ago. And I see we also have with us our current principal of SMA, Mrs. Sylvia John Baptist, and Mr. John Baptist, her husband, Jeff. And of course, you just heard from Jeffers Paul, who is the deputy principal at SMA, Deacon Paul. And of course, we do have as well our feature speaker this evening that's going to share a few words with us as we reflect, Ray Harris and Mrs. Harris. Also, former SMA old boy, alumni. We also have with us Mr. Thomas Layton, SMA old boy, General Secretary of the CSA, well, the DPSU. I'm still old school, you know. And also with us this evening is the leader of the Dominica Freedom Party, Mr. Bernardito, SMA again, SMA old boy. And to you all the invited special guests this evening, all the old boys, going back from way when, we have we have one old boy there that goes back in the 60s, way back in the 60s. I won't call his name, but he knows himself. He's sitting right there. A pleasant good evening to each one of you. On behalf of SMA 2025 Alumni Reunion Planning Committee, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this special night of reflection and cocktail reception. Tonight, we pause to reflect on a remarkable journey of the St. Mary's Academy since its founding in 1932. A journey that has shaped not just students, but leaders visionary, and nation builders across Dominica and across the globe. Our reunion theme, past, present, and future, a legacy of excellence, reminds us that SMA is more than an institution. It is a living legacy. The past calls us to remember the sacrifices, the discipline, and the values that formed us. The present challenges us to stay connected, to lift each other up, and to celebrate the bonds that continue to unite us. And the future invites us to imagine new possibilities for SMA, ensuring that this academy continues to be a beacon of faith, learning, and service for generations to come. Tonight is about reflection, reconnection, and renewal. As we share stories, raise a glass, and enjoy the fellowship, let us also recommit to keeping the spirit of SMA alive through mentorship, support, and by our motto, Ora et Labora, pray and work. I wish you all a memorable evening of friendship, nostalgia, and inspiration. Thank you for being here, and may God continue to bless SMA and its legacy of excellence. Cheers, and let the evening begin.
Thank you very much, Brother Alvin. And I said brother this time because I remembered him in the Union Industrial Relations Fraternity. And what a wonderful feeling there is presently, after all these years, a trade union congress. Brother Lita, thank you very much. Finally, after years of aspiring, we now have an umbrella body where the unions can actually relate to and actually come together and discuss industrial relations in Dominica. And I believe it's a wonderful fit. For decades, we have been trying to have this umbrella organization. Finally, it is here. With these few words, we now call on the present principal of the St. Mary's Academy, Mrs. Sylvia John Baptist. Make her feel welcome. Dazzling Creole outfit to make her feel absolutely fantastic. Welcome, Madam Principal.
Evening, esteemed guests, past and present teachers, friends, well-wishers. It is with great joy, pride, and deep gratitude that I welcome you all to this night of reflection, commemorating 50 remarkable years since the graduation of the St. Mary's Academy class of 1974-1975. This evening is a momentous occasion, a golden milestone that calls us to pause, to look back with appreciation, and give thanks for the journey that began within the walls of our beloved alma mater. 50 years ago, young men full of promise and ambition stepped out from St. Mary's Academy, carrying with them not only knowledge and skills, but the values and discipline, integrity, service, and faith. Tonight, we gather to celebrate the lives shaped by those principles and the legacy that continues to shine brightly through each one of our alumni. This night of reflection is more than a reunion. It is an expression of gratitude. Gratitude for the teachers who molded minds and character. Gratitude for lifelong friendships forged in shared experiences. And gratitude for the enduring spirit of brotherhood that defines what it means to be an SMA man. As we mark this golden jubilee, may we take pride in how far we have come, but also be inspired to continue living out the ideals that St. Mary's Academy instilled in us. To be men of strength, wisdom, and faith, ever ready to serve God and the country. On behalf of the St. Mary's Academy family, I extend warmest congratulations to the class of 1974-1975 on reaching this extraordinary milestone. May this evening fill our hearts with joy, gratitude, and renewed purpose. Welcome, and may our reflections tonight remind us that though years have passed and the world has changed, the spirit of St. Mary's endures, strong, steadfast, and true. Welcome, and thank you very much.
A very powerful woman. Another round of applause for the principal of St. Mary's Academy, Sylvia John Baptist. At this time, we're going to call some members of the class of 74, 75 alumni. We have two panel discussions, and it's going to be slightly different. We're going to be asking them the questions, and they will answer as so fit. So the first panel discussion, we now call on Mr. Linford Akrab John. Please have your seat. By the way, Mr. Linford John was born and raised in the community of Salisbury and is one of the prominent voices in the Kadas Lipso era and has been singing and entertaining for generations. As a prolific singer, songwriter, and producer, he helped shape the Kadas Lipso era and gave it depth with a unique style and great personality. Now described as an icon in Dominican and Creole music space, Linford is the lead and iconic Billowman band lead singer and has developed legendary status for his amazing contribution to the development and growth of Dominica and world music. He gave us great moments with songs like Voisine, African music, Mon Dieu, ma famille et moi, Marie-Claude, and several other Billowman classics. He will also be at the World Creole Music Festival this year, the reunion here. So it's a grand celebration, St. Mary's Academy reunion, and also the World Creole Music Festival reunion. A round of applause for Linford Akrab John, one of the class members of 1974, 1975, the alumni. Another member, very popular, Dr. Damian Dukes. Round of applause for Dr. Damian Dukes Lovely, present chairman of the Reparations Committee, CARICOM Reparations Commission, also board member of the National Cooperative Credit Union, board member of National Development Foundation, non-resident ambassador to the Republic of Costa Rica, member of the Maho Development Committee, also member of the Dominica-Cuba Friendship Association. We all know that he studied in Cuba. He is a recipient of the Cicero Award of Honor, Dominica's second highest award. A round of applause for Dr. Damian Dukes Dublin. And our third alumni is Joseph Tuti Gis. Where is Joseph Tuti Gis? As he comes in, Joseph Tuti Gis was born and raised in the close-knit community of Newtown, where the values and respect, also pride and community shaped its foundation. A proud alumnus of the St. Mary's Academy, Joseph went on to represent Dominica both in football and cricket, later joining the West Indies youth team and the Windward Island squads. In 1984, he left Dominica to pursue higher education in the United States, earning an MBA in marketing from Maharishi University. You see the Indian business? Let's put that in Creole. What is the Creole for that? His career path took him from the gaming floors of Vegas Casino to senior leadership role. I was very fortunate to have played football against Harlem versus Potters during those days. So we're going to ask them a few questions. Mr. Mix, make sure that mic is working.
1, 2. Check 1, 2. Yeah.
Give me some feedback. Solve that for me nicely, so I can hear my voice on the stereo. Right. Okay, so we're going to ask them a few questions. We're going to start with Linford John. Akrab Linford John. Why did you choose St. Mary's Academy?
That's a good one. Yeah, 1, 2. Well, it started with my eldest brother. My eldest brother, J. John, we call him Julius, but he was named Julius. He went to America, and they figured J was more appropriate, I guess. His wife did. So anyways, he went to SMA, and he made such a huge impression at the school that the subsequent... I come from a family of 11 kids. Those were the days, no TV, So I have 7 brothers and 3 sisters. We've lost one of them, the second one. But my eldest brother was very smart. He was the smartest one of the family. People tell me I'm smart. No, he's smart. And so he got the Island Scholarship, and so he was SMA, and he made such a good impression there that everybody loved him. He lived at the hostel, and when I did eventually get there, the lady who was the cook, and she has been there since his days. And when I got in, and then she met me, and she started talking to me about Julius. Well, Julius was his name, but Julius. And she told me, Julius, oh, that is her son. She loved that boy. Julius he walked on water as far as she was concerned. So after him, my second brother, Denison, some of you might know him. He was in government here. He was a minister in Miss Charles's party. And he went to SMA. And after that, there was Glenn. Some of you guys know Glenn John. That's my other brother. That's another SMA guy. It just went down the line, and it was like a thing of pride for us, It's SMA. So when it got to after me, there was a girl after me, and then another girl, and then a boy. And he decided that he wanted to go to grammar school for some reason. I don't know why, but for some reason he wanted to go. Yeah. And he did. And then my other brother, he was not at SMA, but he decided he has to get to SMA. And so he tried. It's another story about him, but he got to SMA. So most of us went to SMA. Me, I was so happy and proud going to SMA. SMA is SMA is SMA.
Okay, let's go to Dr. Dublin now, because for time. Otherwise, we will have you there until 12 o'clock. Dr. Dubs, what about you? Why not grammar school? Why did you choose St. Mary's Academy.
I guess my father taught at SMA.
Who your father taught at SMA?
Together with, I think, PJ and the other guys. My eldest brother went to SMA. So it was like a logical choice to go to SMA. And really, I've never regretted going to SMA. I mean, the whole atmosphere. At the time, when you grow up in a village and you go to secondary school, it's like, yes, I mean, the whole village watching you like, yeah, these are the guys, you know, like Tite Etienne, Sobers, that was the crew at the time. And we felt it, and we knew that we had a responsibility, not just to go SMA, but to go excel and come back in the community and bring up that legacy. So I'm happy to say that we all did it. I mean, up to this day, we are still involved in our community. I mean, Sobers, Glenn, all the others, doing good things. One thing about SMA, the thing that coming from country and going to SMA, your first day at school, you have to get ready because there's an initiation. And the initiation is some hard slap in the head by the elder guys, and you just have to take it and say, well, all that is part of it. And the discipline aspect too was another important thing. One thing is, when you go SMA, when school ended at 1, the sun hot, that tie had to stay tied until you reach home. Because if by chance any teacher sees you without that tie, you know when you go back next day, it's a demerit. So I guess I'll use it as a precursor for what came later down in 1972 when we had that revolution to ensure that that tie was no more. So.
What about you, Tutigis, when you...
Please don't tell my mom I was there in 72, please. She's still wondering why I came home early that day, but anyway. I never did tell her. Can you imagine me telling my mom that's why I come home early, or the end of the world for me? So I started, so my sister used to go to convent, and I remember my mom put me in Rosa Boys School in Newtown. And I'm wondering, how come she get to go to convent and they put me in Rosa Boys School? I just ran out of the school and I tell her, I'm not going back there, you got to put me in convent prep. So they put me in convent prep, and then, it was a natural evolution, convent prep, then I ended up in SMA. Best thing that could ever happen to me,
Who was the principal?
When I was there, it was Brother Bassett, I think.
Bassett?
Yeah.
Was it there when the revolution...
Was it there? No.
I'm not sure.
No.
But just for historical purposes, how did that affect your education life?
I felt, actually, at that time, all this, the teachers were coming from the US and Black Power was a thing, you know what I'm saying? And then it was very militant at that time. And then we just fell into it. There was an incident that occurred, and, that was just timing for us. We just walked out, and people were, please don't tell my mom. She passed away, but please don't tell her. Please don't tell. Can you imagine if Aggie knew what I did? But, my mom was a disciplinarian, so going into SMA wasn't a big stretch for me. Mm-hmm. But I felt convicted about that, and I stepped out. For me, SMA was great. I played a lot of sports too, with Mr. Volney, we used to play cricket, Cottingham, who else? Hodge, where is he? Is he here tonight? No, Hodge. But a number of guys I played, cricket with, and that was fun. For me, sports in high school was big for me. I think that's what shaped me. The academics, it was good, but I'm not saying, okay, hold on. I'm not questioning the quality of the academics. I'm just saying that for me, it wasn't the first thing on my list until I went to college. And even, I gotta be honest, Mr. Volney, I wasn't taking it as serious as I should. But, even going to university, you realize, even through osmosis, the amount of knowledge that you've gained. To be college was easier than high school to me. You know what I'm saying? But then again, my focus was more there. I learned to focus a little better, and, but just in terms of, organizational skills, just being personable, being able to be confident of yourself. It was just, for me, it's the best thing that could ever happen to me.
Okay, Dubs, what was the experience like normal school life, were you part of any extracurricular activities?
Yes. The thing is, I guess our nature, my family nature is, we always like to get involved. Or if people find a way to get us involved. I always remember my mother telling me, because I'm more fed up with community, because it's like everybody's involved in the community. And so it was a natural progression. You go to SMA, got involved in football and cricket and whatever activities that was there. I mean, I wasn't saying that I got a few demerits too, but all that is part of the game. It was really, but just the question of gelling with the guys. I mean, guys, you didn't know, and you get to know them, and all you form a bond. And you know, and for me, this occasion is so
Timely.
I mean, guys, just imagine, guys, you went to school 50 years ago, maybe when you left school.
It's fitting.
You have never seen them, some of them, and it's like, and to me, the best part of the reunion is the process of reconnecting with the guys, and some of them, honestly, I just forgotten, but there's a particular guy, I'll mention him, Jonathan Prevost. He seemed to have remembered everybody. You just go to him and he'll give you a list of all the guys. It was like, so for me, it's a joy. Probably, I don't know if you have to talk about the 72 experience, but maybe when you're ready.
Okay, no problem.
If you want to talk about it now, or
We can talk about it a little later, but in terms of the grandma, were you privileged to have had copies hidden of the grandma? That's the Cuban newspaper.
yes, that grandma was I mean, it was just a tremendous piece of literature that we so look forward to. The grandma was a Cuban newspaper, and I mean, when you get that excitement to just read, and it's a whole new revelation from what you're accustomed to, you know, the kind of life, the society, and the different movements. But it was a joy to be exposed to that. I mean, really, it's like growing up in Mao was so dynamic. I mean, the other guys before, I mean, we used to look up to them, serving as role models. I just have to state that one of the guys who really influenced my, I would say, formation and thought was Francisco Esprit. Francisco Esprit was a guy, went to university, much involved in the Black Power movement. Then he came back Maho, he set up what we call a work and study group. So but could say, I mean, we used to go up a place called Mount Georgian in a little wooden house. And it's like serious studies, Marxism, Leninism. I mean, all the things that happen in the world, you have to study and then present after next day what did you learn. So I mean, all that helped to shape my thoughts of the world and understanding of different cultures and people. Because sometimes you listen to news and you hear things about this. The funny thing is, certain names are used selectively. So for some people, they might be freedom fighters in one sport. Same set of people, they might be guerrillas in another sport, and in another environment, the same set of people fighting for the same cause might be called terrorists. So it puts you, it helps you to discern the different terminology used for actions by different people of different cultures. So for me, that work and study group, which Francisco Esprit initiated, was tremendous.
What about you, Lynn, for that group, John? If Mao, according to Dr. Dubs, was country, so we would have to be country also. So as a country boy coming to town, what was the experience like at the St. Mary's Academy?
St. Mary's Academy was very, you know, I was always into the music, but my parents were into the studying, into the school. And so when I got to SMA, I got into, well, we had the SMA Glee Club, and I was a part of, but then I started forming groups with guys, and then my parents found out I was playing music, so my dad told me, no, it's costing us a lot of money to send you there. We need you to concentrate on the reading, writing, arithmetic part of it. The music is something. So anyways, I told them okay, but I still kept on doing it until one day I was at Rockaway on the Sunset Terrace, and I'm playing with a band, my guitar in my neck, and I'm singing, and I saw this vehicle coming from Salisbury. I said, oh man, I'm cooked. Oh man, yeah. Sure enough, man, I go home and then, oh yes, he read me the riot act and, yeah. But one of the things that I'm so very happy with SMA is when I went to the United States, I immigrated to the United States, every job I applied for, when they interviewed me, they seemed very, very impressed with my linguistics. So they would tell me, which college did you go to? I say, oh, I didn't go to college. Well, not yet. They said, oh, really? I say, yeah. Where did you go to school? I say, in Dominica. What school did you go to? What did you graduate? I say, graduated high school. High school? I say, yeah. What school did you go to? I say, a school called St. Mary's Academy. And that started happening over and over again. That made me realize the extent to which I developed in SMA. I mean, they thinking I went to this college, highfalutin college, SMA Kilawi.
I love that. But Akram, how did that experience at SMA prepared you for life in general and your particular career?
Well, one of the things is, even in whatever you pursue, a high school education is just vital and a good one.
An SMA education. An SMA atmosphere and an SMA education. How did that prepare you?
That prepared me, well, in terms of, because I chose, my path was, like I said, music, but there was a point at which I got married, having kids, and I had to go into the working world. Because in music, I mean, I play with a lot of very good musicians out in California, and those guys, I'm looking at them, they're professional musicians, but they're getting $300-400 playing little gigs like I am. And so music there's so many musicians around, so many good musicians. Music is something that will, it will enrich you, it will make people happy and stuff, but you don't play it for money. You don't think about money when you do it. If that's where you are, you're not going to get anywhere because it's...
What about the discipline and the punctuality?
The discipline and the punctuality was vital, yeah, because that's what you get. If you don't have that, even in whatever field you pursue, what you do, discipline is vital.
Do you miss SMA?
Let me tell you something. When I go there, when I pass there, and when I came back after like 10 years, I had not come back here, and I walked by, I went up back to SMA, and I went into the yard, and I stood up in front of the
Aura,
and I took a selfie right there.
I love that.
Yeah, because man, the thing about it is that when you go to SMA and you're in class, there's a camaraderie in all the guys they look at you as a brother. You are a brother in that whole thing. And people, especially in hostel, when I went to hostel, the older guys, they were like, we were the older brothers, our older brothers. And you have to do...
Who were some of those older guys?
Gordon and those guys had just left when I got there, so because they're a little older than me. But there was like guys like Franklin Monell, the older guys, Alison Monell, Tim Dura.
You smile at that one. And that brings back memories of Naked Fit.
Naked Fit, yeah. We were all part of Naked Fit, yeah. And I was just telling Mr. Henry the other day. I remember one day, you stand up talking to us and they cover the encomienda system. He told me, it's interesting to see what Okay, guys, remember to bring, to make it.
Also, you're not telling the audience that you were a centimeter close to playing for Kassav.
Oh, man, yeah.
Kassav actually recruited him, but because of some family...
Yeah, well, my brother moved to the States and he filed for 8 of us. And that was a long time coming, and that was during the time I was with Billowman. I was touring, traveling Billowman. And then when after Billowman broke up, I was going back to Dominica, and they called me up and told me that they're trying to form this group. They're going to form this group, and they're going to call it Kassav, and they want me to be the lead singer. I said, okay, all right. Because Billowman just broke up, so I would, yeah, no problem. So we said, okay, can you come up to a meeting that we're gonna keep to decide how we're gonna approach this, what we're gonna do? I said, okay, I came up, I went to that meeting, we sat down, we talked about it. And then at that time, that's when my brother and
Kassav was history. Dr. Dubs, how the St. Mary's Academy experience shaped you as one of the finest dentists in the Western Hemisphere, disciplinarian, got so involved with several, that experience at SMA, how really that impact on your life and your career?
Well, as SMA, one key thing is the discipline, which kept you in check. That was one. As I mentioned, the camaraderie. I mean, it's like you're in school, you're in class, but it's like, I mean, the competition is there. There are some guys who are very smart, much smarter than you, but I mean, that's not like a factor that would prevent you from doing what you have to do. And just the link, man, the activities, play together, you come out country and you go for a rough time. I mean, after the initiation, you always have that, I don't know if it's phobia, but you come out country and you with them guys in town and it's like, they are the guys, control the things around and you have to try to fit in and adjust, but after a while you just get into it. And I want to point out an important person who played a part in SMA.
Voice.
Maybe not on? It on?
Yes.
Yeah. A lady who, I mean, everybody here would give her a round of applause. A lady called Miss Murray. I mean, yeah. This lady played a tremendous part. And when you go to history, she started even way before our time. This lady used to sell bakes. And that bakes, that recipe was patented. Nobody else did, because nobody can make a bakes like this, man. Bakes, coconut cheese. I mean, when that bell ring, you have to be, like you said, bold, because you have to get out of that classroom to be first in line. And that bakes. But the nice thing about the bakes, you should take the coconut cheese and put in that bakes and make a sandwich. And my God, that sandwich tastes good. But I found out also that she was a lady, if you come and tell her, boy, Miss Mary, I don't have money today, she would just give you the recess without any qualm. I mean, and she played an important part in nurturing us and feeding us. In fact, she had two children who went to school together first on the age, and so I just really had to mention that. And another impact I had to bring forward to this is the revolution. I mean, I mentioned about the discipline with the tie and so on, but we coming from Maho, when we came and the activity was happening, Glenn, we decided, well, our parents in Maho, they can't come for us in Roseau there, so we joined in the revolution. So that's how we got involved in the whole scheme of things, and it was really an interesting time, the whole Black Power movement and so on. And it just it just shapes your mind as to, the differences in approaches to certain things, doing things different ways. And the community awareness, which is always in us, it just bring everything together. So we just continued in that same vein right from.
Okay, what about you, Tuti? Guess.
What was the question?
The question was how SMA, the St. Mary's Academy experience at school, paved your way to your career and your life in general.
Okay, so I grew up in Harlem, Newtown, and I was lucky enough to go to high school. So, I was part of the Harlem committee where we did more than one thing, not just soccer. I mean, soccer was just what was visible, but we did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of educational things. We had food drives. It was just a lot of, it was a culture, it was a community. Tipam, you were saying that you guys originated the band that he was telling me just recently, Tipam, that they were sports team before they became Gramax. It's the same thing. We never became anything, but sports was a big thing for us, And I remember going to high school. I mean, you have responsibility, right, being in the community. So the guys like O'Greels, Randy Kaiser back there, and all of them, I would have to go meet with them, and they would give me my assignments, and I would have to go all day and try to do it and come back in the evening and report. And so it gave me that sense of community, So that was really important for me. You know what I'm saying? It made me. It changed it kind of changed my personality. I had to be a little more outgoing because I was pretty shy growing up, to be honest, But what that did was it gave me perspective. It let me realize that it's not all about me. There's a bigger community. So now that I work in Native American communities, it's a very natural transition. I mean, it's no accident that I ended up there, to be honest. Could have worked in the corporate environment. It would be great, but the stockholders, that's all they care about, right? The next buck. At least in the Native American community, when we bring progress there, it's for the community. They build schools. They can educate their kids. They have health clinics and just a whole bunch of things that they can do. So I think that transition was natural. I didn't go looking for it over there either, but I think just the origin where I started just naturally transitioned to this. So, the education itself for me was wonderful. As I said, I wasn't the top student, but through osmosis, I got enough at least to transition to college.
How were you able to mix sports and education, because you were also one of the finest sportsmen during the period?
Well, I'm telling you,
how were you able to mix it?
Not very well, to be honest. Because I played a lot of sports, Mr. Volney and a number of other people, Cottingham, Mr. Sorrento is not there today, but, so that was a big part of what I did. So I played cricket and I played soccer, and so that was good. But I was fairly intelligent, so I was able to get through the classes. I wasn't the top student, in no way. But then once I went to college, as I was saying, I didn't realize how much knowledge I gathered. I thought I was like an average student, to be honest. But once you get there in your environment with people who supposedly go through high schools, not only in the US, all over the world, and you realize, again, the linguistics, you mentioned that, that was something that I took note of. And, and now I think, there were a couple people, to be honest, and I do want to bring up one tonight. Mr. Ray Harris there, he taught for a little while I was there, but I got to know him, and, I would have a lot of conversations with him, and just the way he would structure thought process. All these things, you don't know they're going to benefit you until it does,
Right.
Because, for example, you have a kid, and you keep telling the kids, don't do this, or eat this, and they rebel all the way until you don't tell them anymore. Suddenly, they become the best eaters, or, that's how it is. It's osmosis. It takes time. You just have to keep rebelling. So I had the privilege of talking to him a lot, and, just giving me insights into things, and now I see the benefit of it now.
Absolutely. This question is not for you to answer, but I knew there was always a closeness between St. Mary's Academy and the convent high school. This is not for you to answer. The final question is, Akram want to answer? There was always that relationship.
For me. Oh yeah, well, it was SMA is an all boys school. Convent is all girls school. You know what I'm saying? And
brothers and sisters.
There's a natural connection. Natural
Because
connection.
I understood at some point in time there were certain classes that were given at both SMA and convent would attend, and at SMA and vice versa.
How did I miss that?
I'm not sure at which period. Possibly Brother Jamil may tell us, but I understood, I think in Gordon Anderson's time,
I didn't experience
there were certain classes that were held, SMA classes that were held, I think the subject of foreign languages were held at convent, and some of the convent classes, so the girls would have to come over at SMA. I was really disappointed that didn't continue from 75. Final question for this first panel is how important it is to continue to give back to the school that really gave you that impetus, that foundation. The St. Mary's Academy. How important it is to give back?
Go back 1 year, and I got a call from Alvin. Hey, Tuti, we gotta do this. You know, it's SMA. We gotta have a reunion. Okay. When Alvin called you and he put the squeeze on you like this, I'm gonna say no. I can't say no. I say okay. I'm in. I don't even know what I was gonna do. I have no idea what's gonna happen. I tell him I'm in. So just to see the progress of this from where we started about a year ago, to now. And the involvement that people have had, and it really is a testament to what the school meant to us. And then just to see all the people that we've contacted and they're excited to be part of it. I mean, 50-year anniversary, that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that there's never been a reunion for SMA. So we aggressively pursued it. Of course, we had our ups and downs, and Alvin would call me and, oh, you stole my recess, and I said that. You know what I'm saying?
Alvin stole your recess in high school.
Who does that? You know what I'm saying?
So, Alvin bullied you.
Yes.
Alvin will get a chance to answer you.
Who does that? You know what I'm saying? I was young, a little kid. I was, little. I told you I was shy.
You're shy, yes.
Yeah. So Meg. I was Meg.
Oh boy.
Babe, you know what Meg means? I was thin. My wife doesn't speak Creole.
But Dubs, that whole movement, how we are going to continue that movement to assist St. Mary's Academy. Today is the building, but then there are students, nurturing the students, sometimes actually mentoring them, visiting the school time and time again to actually tell them about your career path and inspire them. What about you? And then we'll go to Linford and then we'll close up this section.
It's always important to give back. I mean, as I said, I grew up always involved, and the transition to study in Cuba was like a natural progression. And what it taught me is in Cuba is humility. I mean, humility, you meet guys who are professors, top-notch in whatever field, and these guys are just like ordinary guys, humbly. So it showed me that, hold on, that elitist thinking of, okay, man is a medical doctor, and the society have him like he's smarter than everybody else, or he might be an engineer. And you go around with people who have levels of education, and they are so simple and humble and easy to go with. So that hit me, and kind of helped my character and personality. And I'm just a community man up to now. We're still involved doing what we have to do. But I think it's important that every alumni should always retrace the path towards the school that nurture you. Find some way to give back, talk to a student, guide somebody. If you can give monetary, you can give of your time. So I think that would be a call for all alumni, whether it be SMA, grammar school, convent, to just rethink and give back.
Okay.
And teachers, very important.
Thank you very much.
Give thanks to them.
Linford John?
Yeah. I think basically the same thing too. Because my path, like Damien's path was kind of academic. Mine, I went to college. I started college and then dropped out, because I realized that, not that going further, trying to pursue my education, my path education-wise was wrong or was not appropriate for me. But I always had a strong sense of what I wanted to do was music, but I had that foundation from high school, from SMA. And I think that, I don't know if the fact that I lived in hostel was that was one of the influential things there. Because if you lived in hostel, you had to study. You had to do well. There was no two ways about it. And then, but one of the things that I'm grateful for is that even though I did not go pursue the academic side, but I had enough of a foundation from school, from SMA, and I highly recommend anytime. My family, after we all graduated, we started a scholarship fund in the name of my dead mother and grandmother to give to kids to go to school. We have some kids go to SMA that we have a fund that we supply for the foundation to do that.
A round of applause for Tutti, Joseph Gis, Damian Dublin, Linford Akrab John. Thank you very much, guys. Excellent. A round of applause for our first. All right. And we're getting set for a special presentation by a former monarch, Kaiso monarch of Dominica, one of the most flamboyant ever. St. Mary's Academy roots. Make him feel welcome. Not yet? Okay, so I'll give him another chance to fix up his stuff with the audio. He always goes for perfection, and I guarantee he got that from the St. Mary's Academy. In the meantime, I would like to shout out a few of the teachers between 1975 and 1980. Brother David, even before we go to the others, I really want to let's give Brother Jimmy a standing round of applause. There was no way I could get away from Brother Jimmy. And that's because I liked French. He was the French teacher. I liked football. He was the football coach. And when I said football coach, that's the only coach I know in the history of St. Mary's Academy to ban a team going for 2 more games to win a title, and he banned a complete team for not coming to a practice. Okay. Call the practice. Guys didn't show up. Next day on the mic, bring his uniform in. I've never heard that before. Never heard that before. Only 2 more games, and we would have won the title that year. And that is a level of discipline. If you have to play for SMA, no matter how good you are, you must come and practice. Those were the days were kind of during the dread situation, so we were inclined to come with our little Gwene, my brother. Brother Jimmy had the comb and the afro comb with the spikes, and he would comb me a ear for you. Now we all know that as little boys, when there's anyone trying to comb me a ear for you, how it feels. And if your shirt was unbuttoned, you would get a pinch. Just to remind you, I recall we had something we used to do. We used to hang out in the church, Cathedral Church yard, and all of our friends from Westlake School and the convent girls passing. Brother Jimmy came once. And if you recall the yard of the church, my brother, people run from Roseau, run, because everybody had to be ready for assembly, and he banned anyone, you have to come straight to school, and not only to school, but to relax yourself, no more of this. I was one of the unfortunate ones that he depended on me. I was a striker. Myself and Don Yogal played for the under-14 youth team at the same time. So he depended on me a lot, and he spoke to me a lot. And I happened to throw a few goals of all school, grammar school. Any other team but not grammar school. You were allowed to do anything else but not. As a matter of fact, Brother Jermaine actually put on uniform as the coach. He actually put on a uniform to play a game with SMA. That's a passion because SMA could not lose. We eventually lost, and I was called to the office in front of the entire class, the school. And once you go to the office, you know what happens. My hand felt heavy for 2 days. But then, when you look back at the discipline, at the time it was tough. And the final thing, we had some last periods where there were no classes. So if you knew the SMA around the toilet area, we would jump over, take out and move. One day as we jump over, we see a long white gong, we had to jump back. And he caned all of us. I also want to thank Mr. Rupert Serendo, because we had a dream team, and I think that's why people like Paul Philip, that's 75, 80. If you look at what we have done, Dr. McIntyre is the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Tom David, if you look at the 75 to 80, I'm very happy for the 74, 75. For the 75 to 80, we were... Mike, I can talk with that mic, that's not a problem. But anyway, Mr. Rupert Lance, Mr. Cuthbert Elwin, the late, Mr. Henry Volney. That's the only history teacher I know never to come with a textbook. Everything inside me. Mr. Volney never came with a textbook. Every single thing is inside there. I mean, this is phenomenal. A round of applause for Mr. Henry Volney. We had people like Marcella Savrin, Mr. Romel Lawrence, I mean, one of the finest English teachers you could ever get. Dave Cottingham also did history in the earlier classes. Mr. Gifters John also did English. Brother French also did chemistry and physics. Brother John Lewis, Spanish and religion, and also some theater. Hodge Oliver, Libra. Brother Peter, and so many others. I want to really thank you, wherever you are, viewing or listening, because you did wonderful work for the 75 to 80 team. And I can tell you it was tough, especially if you're a little troublesome. If you're a little troublesome, Brother Jermaine would fix you up. No, it was tough. It was really tough. Because as children, you tend to want to talk. You want to, especially if a teacher is slack. Then once you hear a silence, not a pin can drop. Brother Jimmy is at the window. And everyone has to focus, otherwise, he would just do that, and he moved. Are you ready, boy? Okay, make him feel welcome. The two-time Kaisaborak of Dominica.
2, 1, 4.
The one and only
4.
Dowell Bob.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Test and 1, 2. Can you hear me out there? Put your hands together for Leroy Wadiko Charles. Yes, thank you again. Sobers requested this song. It's called Swim Close to the Rock. From the day the turtle mother laid her eggs in the sand, she struggles to protect them from all life on the land. And when the baby turtles swim out into the ocean, the seagulls and the fish are hunting them to eat them. So she tries to teach them some wisdom, lessons for land and at sea. Yet of the dozens who swim out into the ocean, it's always just a few who will survive to maturity. So don't swim blindly into the ocean. Don't mistake everything in life for fun. Remember, life is some preservation. Cause this is a jungle society. Yeah, danger looks everywhere you walk. Be wise, children, do not push your luck. Cause the few who survive are the few who listen. When the mother talks, she said, swim close to the rock. Sing that line with me, please. Swim close to the rock. 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 I had to do this one because, really, in essence, it sums up my 5 years at the St. Mary's Academy. Fortunate to have a combination of principals like Brother Wickham, Brother German, the best of the best. Put your hands together for them, y'all. So the plight of the little turtles reminds me of my struggles and my growing pains. Yes. In this system, a child without their parents, I pray to all who'd harm them. The story is the same. A child without that protection becomes victim of the system. And the most dangerous of all weapons is the tongue of anyone who wants to see you down. So don't swim blindly into the ocean. Don't mistake everything in life for fun. Remember, life is some kind of preservation. Cause this is a cruel society. So swim close to the rock. 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 I've searched the houses of worship among honorable men, yet that selfless love and true friendship of which all men seek is nowhere to be found. So remember the turtle's children. Remember, preservation is the key. Life's an uncertain existence, cause this is a jungle society. Yeah, danger looks everywhere you walk. And be wise, children, do not push your luck. Cause the few who survive are the few who listened. When the mother talked, she said, swim close to the rock. I had to do my favorite verse a cappella for you. Next song, yeah. All from the St. Mary's Academy. Yeah.
Go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
This one is called You Never Know. Another very deep one. I've seen things in my lifetime, though I may be considered young, not enough to show a blind man what's right and what's wrong. Oh yes, I've seen the powers of the great men. I've seen world's power change hands, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the World Trade Center and all. And of all the great things I have seen in my time, none is forward than the fall of a man. Men who seem to be indestructible just because of how they dealt with people. I've seen kings fall from grace to become the outcasts of the wretched, of the human race. So, you never know how you'll end up tomorrow. You never know. You never know, so be careful what you sow. Cause when a man has power, and he uses that power to victimize and terrorize his own citizens, he should always remember. What he should remember reminds me of Donald Trump. The people he treated so terrible. You never know. I've seen tyrants and dictators done here yesterday and today gone. Oh yes, I've seen the supporters of dictators flee from their homes to live and die heartbroken in some faraway lonely road. And to the power-hungry leaders in this region who believe that their time has come to cling to power by all means possible at the sacrifice of their own people. They better start to think right before they end up like Chavez, begging for another chance at life. You never know. You never know how you'll end up tomorrow. You never know. You never know, so be careful what you sow. Today you're a president, supporting your government in victimizing your own citizens. You should remember that Saddam was president of Iraq, hiding in a hole like a rat with no one to defend him. You never know. Yeah. Spiritual calypso. I'll do this last one for you. It's called When People Don't Like You. I sang that one in 2017 and I won my first crown. I hope you love it as much as I love doing it every chance I get. Like this. When Moses led the Hebrews out of Egypt, they never liked him. They enjoyed it, but they never liked him. When Martin Luther King brought them freedom, some never liked him. They enjoying it, but some never liked him. Oh, so when people who don't know me don't like me, don't ask me why, I guess it's just society. But I can't stop, I invest too much already. If they don't like the leaders who set them free, then who is me? Who is me? When people don't like you, you can bring down manna from heaven. They won't like you. When they don't like you, you can open up to them and they'll still betray you. It's like they don't like you. It's not very simple to say forgive them, for they know not what they do. Oh, take it from me. Don't like his blows. It's not easy. Who feels it most? I'm sure everybody here can identify with this song. Everybody. Somebody make some noise. Let's know you're there. Yeah, man. I'll do one more verse for you. Biddy biddy. Dominican Calypso is really good, you know. When they close it, forgiveness, take it seriously. Cause I had a life in either the fasting to exile and suffer. Senior council say performance does not matter, yeah. Cause he don't like Jamaica and black people for their nature, yeah. They hate bright, educated children of slaves whom they just cannot use to their advantage, especially if you from a certain village. Be careful what you do, cause they'll turn your own people against you, against you. When people don't like you, you can bring down angels from heaven. They won't like you. When they don't like you, you can feed them and they will kill you. It's like they don't like you. It's not very simple to say forgive them, for they know not what they do. Oh, take it from me. Don't like his laws. It's not easy. Who feels it most? In the name of my alma mater, it's my time here. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. See you on Friday.
Let it go for Daryl Bob. A round of applause. We are calling the second group of panelists, Mr. Sobers Esprit, Eric Augustus, and also Alvin Thomas. Alvin Thomas had a public service career that spanned well over 2 decades in the government service. Also served, also served for 20 plus years at various levels in a number of community organizations, to include the Dominica Public Service Union, then called the Dominica Civil Service Association. We know of Eric Augustus, former port worker, former executive member of the Waterfront and Allied Workers Union, now resides in America. Sobers Esprit, the guy that actually wrote the cabinet paper for what we now celebrate as the World Creole Music Festival, multi-talented cultural enthusiast. Make them feel welcome. Guys, first question up. Tell us about your experience at the St. Mary's Academy. We start with Alvin Thomas.
You want the good experience or the bad?
Press him off.
I would say that SMA provided a solid foundation for what I eventually become. And as was said in the previous panel, we are the students of the 70s, 70, 72, that period where you know that there was a consciousness, Black Power consciousness, identity consciousness, a Black man consciousness. That's what we grew up in. I started SMA in 1970 and finished off in 75. And I think that it was even the revolution or the protest, whatever we want to call it. I mean, we were young then, but we were all absorbed into that. And just imagine what this is a Catholic school headed by Bishop Bogart, run by brothers, and you're coming home and saying to your mom, you protest in school. That's like a cardinal sin. But that is what I think it sort of shaped us. And I think when I graduated from school, as you might be aware, that I went straight into the public service. at that time, it was pretty good, get jobs anywhere, everywhere is hiring. And I recall that my godmother, Ruth Nicholas, deceased, she worked at Barclays Bank. And she said, well, you could come work at Barclays Bank. I said, no, because we just protest wearing tie. I'm not going in this and wear any tie. So I wanted to go in the public service. And as I entered in the public service, I almost immediately gravitated into the union. I recall my second day maybe on the job at the audit department. I saw Cocky there, Cocky's father, Gregory Robin, his dad, Mr. Gorman Robin, was the director of audit. And I went up and signed off because even around that time, the 70s, the CSA was powerful. Mm-hmm. So I went up and signed off to become a shop steward in that. Mr. Robin called me to his office. Said, young man, are you serious? What are you doing? You just started working here. So I went back to the union and I told Charles Savre, the general secretary, Mr. Robin don't want me to join the union, He said, don't worry, Robin. Robin was the president of CSA. What are you talking about? Sign the paper, man. Don't worry, Robin. And the rest is history. And I served as general secretary. It was everything from there on. So I think I would say what I got from SMA gave that foundation. Although you may not be aware of it at the time in that young sort of, not knowing much, but it sort of shaped me in all of my future career in the public service and my involvement in other community organizations.
What about the discipline at St. Mary's Academy?
Well, like everything else, we got to give hats off to the principals, whether it was in Brothers German time or Mr. Rupert Sorrento or Mrs. John Baptist. I don't know if you have any boys, but I got 2 boys. And those of you who have 2 boys or 3 boys know what it is raising 3 boys. Just imagine having 300, and how many you got there now? 330 boys you have to deal with for a 5-year period. So we got into some mischief, like Tutti said. Tutti, for some reason, Tutti, I guess he was, I don't want to say he was a spoiled child of his mom, but Tutti would bring some recess that could serve the whole class. I don't know if his mother felt he was going on a picnic, but this man would bring recess. And I would say to those guys, we got recess today. Whether he give or not, we take in. So I of course, at that time, the brothers, very stern, and anything like that is a demerit. And if detention. You five demerits is a detention. And in those days, you had caning. So, so with that situation, anytime the brother call you to the office, you're nervous like hell because you're not going there for him to tell you anything pleasant. So yeah, we got involved in a few little mischief. The other thing is that we had a name for everybody. Like I see one of our classmates, their mother Gary's. Don't tell me how the name come about. We had another guy who was called Nussom.
The French class.
The French class. So anytime you're in the class and you maybe mispronounce or you say something, you get a nickname and it stays with you for the whole 5 years.
Yes.
Even when you leave school, you will find that, So I think it was some great years. I love my alma mater. And I think you asked the question earlier. My eldest brother went to SMA. My uncles went to grammar school. Both Ted and Lloyd went to grammar school. But I went to SMA. My eldest brother went. I went. My brother after me went. And my 2 boys went to SMA. So SMP and then SMA.
By the way, accept my condolences to the passing of Ted Dilly, greatest DJ ever from Dominica. Eric Bible Augustus, tell us about your tenure, your life at St. Mary's Academy and what the part it played in your development.
Well, to be honest, guys hear me?
Press the button. Right, you should hear you now.
Go ahead now. Try now. Okay, you guys hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Well, the question was, what was my experience? I hated every bit of that 5 years. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we entered in the 69-70 era, and it was tough, but you had to study because Catholic schools don't play. We tried our best, and most of us did well. I want to say kudos to this brother right here, Henry Volney. He was the first one who initiated...
A round of applause.
He was the one he was our history teacher. But when we got to fourth form, he felt that we were so brilliant that he was going to ask, at that time we had Father Felix, because he had taken over from the white brothers. After the revolution, we were closed down for a year, I think. A whole year.
Less. About a
couple,
semester.
Yeah, a semester, right?
Yeah.
And we were in limbo. We didn't know if we were going to continue our education, but Father Felix, through his good heart, he came in and he reopened the school. But Henry Volney decided, okay, he's going to talk to Father Felix. For these kids, he felt that was brilliant. So they decided, okay, we were doing GCs at that time. We weren't doing XCXC or what they have now. We were doing GCs and LLC. Our papers were being corrected in England. And he said, you guys can do at least 3 subjects, So we were probably the first set of kids who started doing O-levels in 4th form. Right, Mr. Henry? Right. So now the question, I remembered Wadix was talking about kids that went to convent to do French. And that started when Father Felix felt that those guys who did the 3 subjects in 4th form were loose. When they were history, a lot of us were loose. English, and what was it? Commerce. That was the 3 subjects that we were allowed to do in 4th form. But I did French because I was born French. I was born in Guadeloupe and I came here at 11. So I was able to do the French as well. When we had free classes, because we had passed those O-levels at 4th form, Father Felix said, I'm gonna chain you guys down. So he spoke with the nuns at convent and with the principal at Wesley High School. So he asked them whether they can accept a couple of the kids that are just doing nothing during periods of history.
Free periods.
So some of us went to convent. Well, I attended 3 high schools in Dominica. Yeah, I attended Convent High School. I attended Wesley High School and St. Mary's. So that is how it came about. Okay? And, all in all, my experience was super awesome. I became the captain of the football team in 1971 and 72, I think. And we had challenges against these 2 guys. You see, they sit together. They became partners ever since. Bull and Robin. These guys were, them fellas gave us a lot of trouble, but we were able to defeat them all the time. and one thing, yes, but one thing, with cricket, they would wipe our butts. Because they had a cricket field. But we dominated football. Harlem Rovers with this guy in the back, they had no chance, man. Come on.
Well, what about basketball here?
Basketball, well, to be honest, I didn't play basketball because my fingers was too skinny. And I wasn't able to take the sprains from my fingers, because the ball was so heavy. And we were little, and but St. Mary's Academy was the strongest basketball team in Dominica for a number of years. Because we introduced the game to the island, and we also tried baseball. And baseball didn't catch much. It felt like rounders. So we had all these games. One game I liked a lot was shuffleboard. I love the shuffleboard. But they don't play that no more, right?
SMA also introduced boxing.
Boxing, yeah.
Boxing.
Yeah. All these things. And these things are awesome. Then I graduated from high school, and then I went to Trinidad to another Catholic school called St. Mary's College. And again, Father Felix was the one who brought me from St. Mary's College into UWI. Okay, after I migrated to the US, well, I worked at a port in Dominica with my brother here, Wadex, and he was the only guy I slept with.
Careful what you say, boy.
Clarify. Please clarify. Clarify, please. Clarify.
Yeah. So, the thing is, I was raised with my mom. She's a Shillingford, and these people are very, very strict. So I was raised with a couple brothers, Curtis, Dunstan, Madison, and we slept in different rooms. But I slept with my other brother, the one before me, Dunstan. He eventually died in America. Anyhow, that was the only person, the only male that I remembered sleeping in the same room with. But then we were fortunate enough to go to Russia, Moscow. And we spent 6 months in Russia, in Moscow. So he was my roommate. That's why we slept together. It's not anything, it's just that we slept together. So, ever since we became...
That's enough for now. So much esprit. Tell us about your St. Mary's Academy days. But very importantly, we teamed up to decide to dethrone the great Louis Benoit, which we eventually did. So we teamed up with a guy called Bobby Clark from Barbados to overthrow the regime of the 10-11 brothers. Yeah. And when we came back, we really overthrew them. I became the chairman, and he became the vice chairman of the port. So let's go. We are going to tell us about your experience at St. Mary's Academy and how it paved your life, how it paved the avenue towards what you have become now.
Oh, that's a mouthful. First of all, good night.
The mic?
Yes.
Oh, closer, I guess.
Yes, good night, everybody. I think we are with some mic issues, but this voice is supposed to be loud enough. No? Yeah? Yes? No, it's on. Okay, first of all, nice to see everybody here tonight, and welcome again. Yeah, I always knew I wanted to go to St. Mary's Academy. There's Edgar Henry. Yeah. Edgar and I, we were like brothers, we were tag team. And we always wanted to go to St. Mary's for a number of reasons. Obviously, one was the Catholic education, interestingly, yeah. Wanted a Catholic education. Secondly, I had cousins. Where's James? James Esprit. Yeah, supposed to be somewhere there. James and Francisco preceded me, and they went to St. Mary's. And of course, we had some heavyweights who came from Mao who went to St. Mary's. Elkin Henry, Mr. Dublin, the father of Damien Dublin, Jones Murphy Sr., and the list goes on. We had some real giants from the community who went to St. Mary's. And of course, it was a no-brainer. You had to go to St. Mary's. And so I went to St. Mary's. And for me, crucially, there are two important things. One is the sense of community SMA gave me, and I think those of us, particularly I would say, I would brag and boast and say, the guys of 1970. Tuti, Alvin, those of us who entered in 1970, we were like brothers. It was a brotherhood. And I would say throughout the school life, it was about community. SMA was a sense of community and camaraderie. That's one. The second thing was the discourse. It was a rich, a vibrant discourse on social, education, and cultural issues. And in many ways, I think that helped to shape our lives and to shape who we have become in later years. The upheavals of the 1970s, particularly the revolution, the walkout of April 1972, in many ways helped to give us a certain kind of consciousness about who we are as a nation growing, and as young men, black men in this society, and the future we wanted to see for Dominica and for the region. Just remember in the 1970s, the Dominica we had, a Dominica of underdevelopment, a Dominica dominated by colonialism, a Dominica where people struggled. And those of us who came from what we call the countryside or the communities, we had to struggle through that and through those difficult times. And so when we went into St. Mary's, it helped to raise and lift up the level of consciousness. And I think that really was an important period for most of us who went through the 1970s. However, I hasten to say though, because of, so there's the good part, which is clearly it helped to raise our consciousness, but it also in many ways impacted on the educational system and the processes. Those of us who went through the late 70s, so from 72 to 75, before the arrival of Brother Egbejimid, knew what we went through. The school was challenged in many ways. Lack of resources, unable to attract quality teachers and educators. You had parents and families struggling to send their kids to school. And so it was difficult. And a lot of us, we were impacted by that. And so, but none, in spite of that, SMA still gave us the foundation. And Linford John said, well, it didn't diminish the quality of the learning and the experience we had. Because even if we didn't go to sixth form, even if many people here didn't go to college, when we left SMA, went into other countries, went to other areas, that stood us in good stead. In later years, I went to college, I went to university, and people say, well, as Linford said, where did they get that foundation from? And I've always said that strong foundation was from St. Mary's Academy.
Great. Because of time, we're just going to ask you about this particular function where we are gathered. And the wealth of experience and knowledge here is immense. And the type of contribution some of these gentlemen has made to Dominica is humongous. I really hope that we could have some magazine where we could display, I haven't heard of it, the talents that I just hear and out there from the St. Mary's Academy. Yeah. And then we can at least teach our younger people, our younger students, from people SMP, to emulate some of the greatest men alive. Greatest men alive. Smartest men alive. Guys, tell us about the function. How important it is to have this reunion, and Alvin, in your case, how difficult it was to put it together, and how you feel that it is now coming to completion, and the achievement, the renovation of that special wing at the St. Mary's Academy, how important it is.
Yeah, thanks for that question again, Wadix. But Brother Jermaine normally says, St. Mary's Men of Action. Is that what you say the A stands for? Solid Men of Action. That's how Brother Jermaine describes it. But whichever way you want to call it, the smartest men alive, because we know we're the smartest men. I mean, no disrespect to all the DGS in the room, but we are the smartest men alive. You could see the wrong. I mean, when you think of music, St. Mary's Academy, starting with Gordon Henderson, Fitzroy Williams, Bob, Dice, Shelley, Shadow Flow,
Linford
John, The Ghost. I mean, I could go on Tim Durant. That's music.
Kelly the Ghost.
When you think of politics, I mean, Kasani,
WCK,
Cornell. When you think of business, I mean, names and names. Look, we are the former ambassador of the Oasis and CARICOM, SMA, you know. So,
sports also very instrumental in sports.
So SMA has really produced quite a bit. And to answer your question in a more direct way, I am hoping that this initiative would create an awareness among SMA alumni across the globe. Because, as I said earlier, the question of education should not be left entirely with the staff and the principals of the school. Every one of us have an obligation. Every one of us have an obligation. And it is not something that we say, well, oh, government should or the church should. When that question is raised, I ask, well, who's the church? Who's the church? I mean, Brother German had the vision to build that wing. Prior to that wing being built, the school could not accommodate a certain number of students. And as Sobers rightly said, St. Mary's brought together boys from Woodford Hill, Bacatel, Fort Saint-Jean, Roseau, Goodwill. It was a melting pot. I think my brother Tim Durant said when he came down to school from Saint-Sauveur at the time, I think where he came from, Good Hope. The guy said, where that country boy come out. But that is what it is. Now, currently, Brother Jermaine had a vision for the Egbert Jermaine wing and the SMP. The roof of the Egbert Jermaine wing got damaged through Hurricane Maria. And we know the challenges there is, not just for schools, but several other buildings. It needs replacing. The roof has outlived its life. The building is almost 30+ years old. It has lived its life. And we have a group of us, SMA Old Boys, and I must say, thanks to them for all the support that they have provided, and the various donors as well, friends of SMA, persons who not necessarily had gone to SMA. But the roof is in need of replacement. And we are talking a replacement in the tune of almost $400,000+ to replace that roof. Okay? And there are other issues, there are other development requirements that the school needs. The school has a woodwork shop. You remember the woodwork shop? The school has a woodwork shop, and there are equipments in the woodwork shop that value well over $100,000. Really good equipment, planers, you name it. And the roof of that woodwork shop itself is compromised. Any little wind that might blow will take away the roof. And it means, therefore, that if those equipment get compromised, we're at a loss of well over $100,000 worth of equipment. So there are a number of things. And finally, I will say, mentorship is important. It's not just a Dominica issue, it's worldwide. But more so, Dominica, our men, our young men, we have to show a certain level of responsibility and be there to provide some sort of mentorship for our young men. St. Mary's Academy and St. Mary's Primary is the only all-boy high school in the country. Only one. All the other high schools are co-ed. Co-ed.
Wesley.
Well, as boys.
As boys.
Boys. Okay? All boys. And just imagine, as I said, Mr. John Baptist has a school population now of 330 young men. And it pains my heart. I saw a young man who went to SMA, walking all over the place, not in the right frame of mind. And he was a very bright student, from what I understand at SMA. And they fall on the wayside. We got to figure out a way of capturing our young men. And one of the activities we have this week is a educational forum where we're going to look at education. And what does education look like and should look like in this 21st century? The kids today have more at their disposal than we had. We didn't have cell phone at the time. We didn't have internet, anything of that nature. Encyclopedias was what we used and go in the public library. Now you have AI and you have all this type of, all this technology. We have to figure out how we're going to get the young men involved in this thing. How do we look at education? So I'm saying all of this to say that we as who walked that road 50 years ago have that obligation and responsibility. And therefore, when we make that appeal and we make that call out to our alumni out there, we expect a response. The school this year observed 93 years, Brother Jermaine, 1932? 1932, 4th of April 1932. Started off with 14 young men, 14 at the St. George's Hall. The headmaster then was S.J. Lewis, that's the father of Ozzie Lewis, okay? 93 years ago. We'll soon be approaching 100 years, 7 years from now. It is my hope that those of us who are wrong and we can see that 100 years, that we can see an academy that is really solid and to provide a strong legacy for our young men.
How, Eric and Subas, can we use the experience here to further allow the SMA experience to be one of more value? We can assist the school to actually meet its needs and to assist in renovations.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is we have to recognize that there has to be a strong foundation, all right? We have to build strong foundation. Strong communities, strong societies, strong countries, strong region. The same thing like this school. If we want to solve these problems, these 21st century problems, we have to find ways in which we have to do that. So I don't think that we should continue lamenting the problem of today. We need to find the kinds of solutions. So here's some of the things I think we need to do. One, we have to re-engage between school and alumni community. For too long, there was a disengagement. We were not integrated well enough as school and community. A lot of things happened at St. Mary's, and a lot of us, we were not involved, and vice versa. A lot of us, we are professionals, we go to our business, we don't go back to the school, and so on. So that's the first thing. So we have to find a mechanism to get us united, to get us together, as number one. What is that mechanism? It may be an alumni association that can bring in alumni from all over the world, whether they're in Japan or New York or wherever. Now we have the internet, so there's no question about we can't meet. So we can meet, that's the first thing. So if it's some kind of organization that brings together the alumni community. Secondly, we have to create databases of alumni from wherever they are. You can't tell me, I don't know who went, the people who went in 1917. My friend, Anthony Tipam John, bass player for Gramax. He's at the back there. Tipam, let's give him a round of applause. Somebody who flew the flag all over the world playing music and representing Dominica.
Super Bowl.
Yes, he had to leave school to go and represent Dominica, but he's still first tonight. So the second thing is we have to create databases of alumni, of the alumni community. The third thing is we need to look at a program of action that addresses some of the issues. So if it's mentorship, what is mentorship? What does mentorship look like? How do we do it? Who initiates it? Who are the people who get involved? What quality of people we want involved in that? So that's the other thing. So a strong program of action that is driven by, first of all, the critical needs of the current generation. So what are some of the, we talk about delinquency, drug addiction, and so on and so forth, whatever it is, drop out from school. So let us address those things in a comprehensive fashion, in a meaningful way, so that we can in fact change, bring about real change. So so I say one is a re-engagement. Two, creating databases. Three is a program of action. Yeah. The third thing, the fourth one is policy. Alvinda spoke about it. We have to advocate for a new set of policies to govern education in the Dominican region. The education that we had in 1970 cannot be what we're going to need, what we need now. We need a new paradigm. We need a paradigm shift in terms of education. There has to be meaningful reform of the education system to look at, in particular, the curriculum. The school plans. What kind of school plan do we want? The Agbejimin wing. How do we want to reconstruct it? Make it climate smart, technology driven, and so on and so forth. So these are the issues that before us. We have a lot of talent that have come from the school over the 93 years. Let us try to see how we can mobilize the talent, mobilize resources, mobilize connections that we have all over the world, and to address those problems that have been so intractable for those 90-something years. Folks, we have come a long way. There has been many challenges along the way. Some people have been, as Alvin said, we see a lot of young men coming from SMA, some of them brilliant guys during our time, but we have problems of mental illness in Dominica, and we're not addressing them. So the school population, the alumni population, how can we help to address some of those issues? So I put forward those ideas as a way for us to look at the next 50 years, next 93 years, to address those issues. Thank you, guys.
First of 100 and then the rest. Eric, my Augustus.
Before I go, let me just say that you talk about music, guys. SMA was also principally involved or driven by what happened in terms of the visual and performing arts in Dominica. Yeah, I have to make that plug. Alwyn Bully, the late, yeah, SMA. Dr. Lennox Church, Raymond Lawrence, Gordon Henderson, and so on. So we had some titans who helped to shape the culture and the heritage of Dominica. On November the 1st and 2nd, the Alwyn Bully Foundation, a foundation that was created to honor and to build on his legacy, will be putting on the play Strick, the 50th anniversary of that play. So it's a shout out to us inside here to go and support that production. A production by Alwyn Bully, and will be performed on November the 1st and 2nd.
Okay, thank you very much, Super Spray. Eric, Augustus.
Well,
take your mic.
We already starting to wind down.
No, we have the feature address coming up.
What a dunce like me can say after these two bright guys.
I love that.
These two bright guys gave you everything that you need to know. My position is, from the time I was told about this, I decided I was going to try to be the hub. I was the one who made the list, and I sent to some of these guys of all the 101ers and 102ers. So eventually we came up with something close to 60 students. I can't believe two first forms had 60-something students, and now teachers are saying the classroom is too big. But we were in high school, and there were lots of us. So I am the hub. I call everyone. Make sure that, even when we had the gathering on Saturday, I took my phone, and all the guys who are out there still that I communicate with, I call them, and we FaceTime. And the bunch of us who were there at the school on Saturday, they were able to talk to those that were outside. Macaulay Roberts, he was once a head boy. He lives in Queensland, Australia. We were able to get him. I was able to get him on the phone. And he spoke with everyone, and there were tears in their eyes. Everybody was happy to see the kind of camaraderie that we had. Okay? Like I said, a dunce like me can't say anything much. Told you everything.
Final from this particular panel. Alvin, retrofitting, just finally, before we take the feature speaker.
Yes, thank you, Alex. Just two things I want to say very quickly. We started this process a little over a year ago, when we rounded up a few guys and said, hey, we got to do something. And one such person that started off the journey with us, who is no longer with us, is Jeffrey Brisbane. Wow. Jeffrey was part of the 75 class, and he was part of the planning committee, but he didn't stay through. And I remember when we had our first meeting, maybe the second meeting, Jeffrey said he's not doing too well, and but he continued coming to meetings right to the end, up until the time he could. So I just want to honor and respect the work of Jeffrey Brisbane. And those of you who know Jeffrey's involvement in Carnival, in COC, in festivals, you name it. But the other thing I just want to say, though, is that in terms of what education should look like, there is a group of us, old boys, going all the way back from the 60s, currently in the 80s or thereabout. We have established in the United States a St. Mary's Academy Alumni Infrastructural and Development Fund Incorporated. So we have that foundation registered in the U.S. and incorporated in the U.S. And we also have 5013 status in the U.S. so we can get tax write-off from corporations, that the corporations who provide us support can get tax write-off. And we have an account in the US attached to that particular foundation with the Bank of America. And also in Dominica, we have just submitted an application for the registration of a foundation in Dominica known as the St. Mary's Academy Alumni Infrastructural and Development Foundation Incorporated. I must say thank you to the Minister of Legal Affairs, the Honorable Raymond Blackmore, who has signed off on our application. The documents are all in, so it's just a matter of finalizing all the necessary protocol. That is in place, and we are aggressively in effort to raise funds towards the project. Also, we have started a discussion with an institute in the US called the XQ Institute. They are heavily involved in education, and the Prime Minister of Barbados get into some discussions with them a year or two ago, and they built an innovation center, they call it, an innovation center from ground up in Barbados. We, that is the foundation in the US, is having conversation with that institute. We hopefully will have our second meeting with them on the 20th of this month. And some of the things that we're looking at, as you mentioned, the question of retrofitting. How do you make I was on the ground floor and the second floor of the Benjamin wing, and trust me, it was burning hot. So how do you retrofit this building to make it much cooler? How do you retrofit the old building? So hopefully we'll be having that meeting, that conversation with them, the board, on the 20th of this month. And moving from there, we want to engage them aggressively and get them to commit to some development and assistance for the school. I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you very much, Panel Eric Augustus, Alvin Thomas, and Sobers Esprit. A round of applause for our panelists as we get set to move on. And I must say, one of the hallmarks of tonight's event is punctuality, discipline, and confidence. St. Mary's Academy gave you that kind of confidence. Tuti was shy, and when he left SMA, he had that particular confidence. It gives us great pleasure to now welcome to this special ceremony this evening, the feature address. Make you feel welcome, Attorney at Law, Ray Harris. The distinguished Ray Harris. More applause for.
Yes. Good evening. Very difficult to follow these two excellent panels and the extraordinary talent of Brother Bob, because I'm telling you, those of us who were at the Mass yesterday and heard his rendition of Ave Maria, extraordinary. Thanks. Tonight, I would like us to reflect on 5 life lessons based on my humble life. The first life lesson is life is a spiritual journey in temples of flesh. The word spiritual relates to matters of the spirit, and the word spirit is commonly used to refer to the non-physical part of human beings, the spirit soul, the seat of the emotions and character. It must be remembered that in Genesis 2:7 we read, God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and he became a living soul. And the word journey can be said to refer to a trip from one place to another, or a process of personal growth and development involving challenges and learning through experience. For example, there you are, living souls, listening to me in temples of flesh, looking through those eyes, smelling, tasting, touching, experiencing life on earth in this beautiful nature island, Dominica. Hence we read in John 14:2, in my Father's house are many mansions. This earth mansion of the Father's house is a school for souls to experience life within the limitations of this three-dimensional material plane. Earth is a school, like our alma mater, the St. Mary's Academy. The only difference is, it is the ultimate university for souls like you and me. We who experience life on earth in temples of flesh tend to be more consciously aware of the slower vibrating substances of gases, liquids, and solids. However, regardless of what name you now carry, the omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent one, the consciousness behind all consciousness, is at the center of your being. Without that conscious essence, that divine spirit, in Christian parlance, the Holy or Christ Spirit, you would not be experiencing the life that you're presently enjoying. That conscious spirit is the silent observer or witness within you right now. The earth journey is for us to evolve and develop character, that intangible but crucial aspect of being human. Journey, it might be wise to always remember that all life is of substance in vibration. This is not only in sync with modern science that indicates that everything is energy, but is an eternal spiritual law. In the Bible, Hebrews 11:1, the word faith is defined as follows. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. With that definition of faith in mind, like we do in laws, every time you see the word faith in the Bible, you substitute the definition. You would be amazed how well it works. For example, in Hebrews 11:3 we read, through faith we understand that the world was framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made from things which do appear. And further in Hebrews 10:38 we are reminded that the just live by faith. And always remember, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hence I say to those who have ears to hear, because all life is of substance in vibration, and the more subtle spiritual substances of creation are malleable. What you think about with emotion, energy in motion, tends to come about. The second life lesson is education is the path to liberation. Education might be said to be the path from limitation to liberation, because it transforms the mind, shapes the character, and opens the door to opportunities that would not have been possible without education. Ignorance, that is a lack of knowledge, limits human potential, trapping individuals in cycles of fear, restricted choices, and dependency. In Hosea 4:6 we read, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Through education, one gains knowledge, skills, and confidence to critically think and pursue lives of creativity, dignity, and purpose. Those of us who have been blessed with higher education certainly know the importance of secondary and tertiary education. Tonight, many of us are here because of our shared secondary school experience at the St. Mary's Academy, which granted us the necessary discipline and knowledge to succeed at the tertiary level and as professionals. However, notwithstanding the importance of secondary and tertiary level education, I humbly submit that early childhood education matters the most. And further, that spiritual principles ought to be incorporated into early childhood education because it is the true foundation of learning. Those formative years of a child's life are crucial. Whatever you put in the subconscious mind of a human being in those formative years, from birth to 7, becomes their programming for life. If you lose them in the first 7 years, it might be very difficult to save them thereafter. I don't want to be drafting juvenile sentencing law when they reach 14. I therefore invite you to consider that the emphasis in early childhood education should be the trinity of literacy, numeracy, and spirituality. Hence, as we develop our early childhood education, a component of civics syllabus could incorporate some basic spiritual principles that can be found in Christianity and all leading religions. Principles like truthfulness, honesty, love, which includes respect for others, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. Also teaching children the spiritual principle of as you sow, so shall you reap. Basic law of cause and effect. That is important. As you consider this and reflect on this, it is noteworthy that our educational laws speak right there in the law of cultural, moral, and spiritual development. The third lesson is your integrity is everything. Guard it with your life. Earlier I spoke of your spirit soul, which is the seat of your emotions and character. And your character refers to your patterns of behavior, attitudes, and moral qualities, including good and bad traits. Whereas integrity signifies a consistent adherence to a moral and ethical code. Integrity is therefore the essence of good character. It is the strength to act with honesty, to speak the truth, regardless of external pressures. It requires consistently living by principles, rather than doing whatever is convenient. With integrity, success can be enjoyed. Your mind can be at peace. Without integrity, achievements can be hollow and without substance. It is the foundation upon which lasting personal or professional relationships develop and thrive, and true leadership is realized. When you're in charge of an assignment or project, be committed, put in the hours. I think it is Albert Einstein who said, genius is 1% talent, 99% hard work. Incidentally, The only way to guard your integrity is by the way you live your life. The fourth lesson is pray, work, and meditate. The fourth lesson is the motto of the St. Mary's Academy, coupled with meditation. Ora et labora, pray and work, represents the principle of balancing prayer and work. This guiding principle emphasizes that both spiritual devotion and work are essential parts of life, with each complementing the other. It is posited that the combination of prayer, work, and meditation is the recipe of success. Some may say prayer is speaking to God. Meditation, on the other hand, is quietly toning down the ego and listening to God. Some prefer prayer, others meditation. The truth is, we human beings should use both prayer and meditation. The need to pray and meditate is as essential to your spiritual life as breath is to your physical life on earth. As regards prayer, always remember, whatever you desire when you pray, believe you have received it, and it will be yours. Mark 11:24 and Matthew 21:22. This powerful principle of faith fits perfectly with the definition of faith that we spoke of earlier. The emphasis is on aligning your desires with God's will and acting in faith, as if the request has already been fulfilled. Although meditation like intermittent fasting has become popular of late, meditation is less understood. Meditation might be said to be focused awareness, transcending the attachment to thought, calming the mind, connecting with inner stillness and peace. It can be thought of as a centering process that brings you to the inner eye of your being. It is the ultimate method of realizing the maxim, man, know thyself. Incidentally, many erroneously think that this maxim originated in Greece. But its true origin was in Egypt, more correctly referred to as Kemet. This maxim might be said to mean awakening to your true essence, beyond the ego, realizing divine consciousness within, thereby assisting one to live in harmony with universal wisdom and love. Remember, we read, be still and know that I am God. Before moving on to the fifth and final lesson of life, in that we all work, we certainly know that work not only sustains our lives, but gives our lives purpose, fosters growth, creates value, and uplifts both ourselves, our families, our institutions, our nations, and by extension the world. The fifth and final lesson is, love is the fulfillment of the law. Love is the fulfillment of the law might be said to be the essence of all moral and spiritual truth. All laws, even those enacted by man, which exist to regulate and guide human behavior, so as to develop societies, nations, and a world based on love, peace, harmony, respect, and justice. Rules without love can become rigid, heartless, and burdensome. Love is the principle that gives meaning to every aspect of life. Love is always fair, just, and equitable. One who truly loves God, the creative source, the consciousness behind all consciousness, who loves self and loves others as themselves, does not need external compulsion, because love prevents harm to others and actively seeks to ultimate good for all of us. Love, like faith, is not just a word, or an emotion, but is also of substance with a particular vibration. It is the highest vibrating substance on planet Earth. Love embraces forgiveness. Because what is love without forgiveness? It also embraces gratitude that attracts more to be thankful for and creates unity in human relationships. In the past, there was a vast chasm between spirituality and science. But as Western science evolves, it merely proves what has been taught by Jesus the Christ and spiritual teachers from time immemorial. Scientific research carried out by the Institute of Heart Math in California shows that heart-centered love generates and promotes physical, emotional, and spiritual health. On page 33 of a book entitled Heart Math Solution, we read, the heart's electromagnetic field is by far the most powerful produced by the body, far greater than the brain. It is said that the heart's electromagnetic field not only permeates every cell in the body, but radiates up to 8 to 10 feet from the body. Hence, when one lives by the high-frequency substance of pure altruistic love, one encircles himself or herself with the high-frequency vibration of love. This is one's electromagnetic field, or auric shield of love, which is your highest form of protection. In light of this, one can therefore better understand the exhortation of Jesus the Christ to love your enemies. Many are puzzled by this precept of love thy enemies. However, understanding the law of love, love being the highest vibrating substance, one is shielded from slower vibrating thoughts of hate directed to him or her. That is, if one lives by the law or substance of love. In closing, I tell you a secret. The slower vibrating thoughts of hate are not only repelled by your auric shield of love, but boomerang straight back to the sender. Hence why you are asked by Yeshua or Jesus the Christ to pray for them. That is the law. Remember, it is said that God judges us from the heart. And he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. My fellow alumni, my friends, well-wishers of St. Mary's Academy, thanks for your patience. Thanks for your love. Thanks for your presence. And just to make a transition, I'm going to think of something in light of the fact that SMA, there's nothing close to us, at almost in every field, but entertainment. Frank Sinatra supposedly said, and he was a great entertainer, like many of us from the St. Mary's Academy. He once said, they say that alcohol is a man's worst enemy, but the Bible says, love thy enemies. Let's have a drink. My brother.
Yes. A round of applause. Continue. This was simply brilliant. And I really do hope that this speech can be replayed. Tim Durant, I hope you can share this speech so that our children, you can now sit, because our children can hear this. Simply brilliant, Mr. Robinson. Mr. Harris, sorry, Mr. Ray Harris. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. We now call on Mr. Linford Akrab John to sing us a couple of songs before our refreshment. Is Akrab in the building? Okay, so we now go with the vote of thanks with Joe Victor Lewis, member of the SMA Alumni Reunion Committee. Make you feel welcome for the vote of thanks.
All right, thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. I've got to apologize. We are a little late this evening. We had a little delay. And some of the persons who were scheduled to be here didn't show up, so we had to make some adjustments. Linford had to run away because he had a previous engagement, so we have to drop that part of the program as well. Anyway, on behalf of the committee, I want to thank all of you for showing up. It's been a wonderful evening. It has been a joy to see some of my colleagues. I went to school in 1969. That's a long time ago for some of you. But in my class, I had Damien Dublin, Peter Etienne, where is he? Robert Alexander, somewhere at the back. Edmund Tavernier and his brother, Sanderson. And where are the others? Bertrand Telemark. And there's so many. I went to school before Alvin Thomas, but somehow he seems to dominate all our lives. You know? He calls and we respond. And that's what happened to us in April of 2024. He called, asking a few of us to join this committee to put this reunion together. There were about 10 of us, including, as he mentioned earlier, Jeffrey Brisbane, Jonathan Prevost, who we call Trouble for some reason, because he always created a lot of trouble, Alcott Hamlet, Damien Dublin. There were quite a few people, David Fountain and so on. But afterwards, Sobers joined, and who else? Well, Tutti was on board very early, but there were a few others that joined in later on. But this group sat many meetings. We started, as I said, in April, but then Jeffrey fell ill, and that kind of slowed down the momentum for a while. But it picked up later when Jeffrey says, listen, I don't want you all to drop this thing. I want us to continue because SMA deserves it. Subsequent to that early April 2024 meeting, another committee was formed to deal specifically with the roof. And Alvin mentioned it earlier. And that committee has taken off. This reunion has been a trial. It is not easy trying to reconnect with SMA students. It has been a work in progress. We formed a group on WhatsApp, and we found guys, as he said, one was in Queensland, of all places, another one is in South Africa, another one has gone to Ghana. So they're all over the world and doing all kinds of things. We have got musicians, we've got politicians, we've got sports people, business people, medicine, lawyers. We've produced all kinds of characters out of SMA, and we've all got to be proud of it. So on behalf of the committee, I want to thank all of you for showing up, and especially those who participated. Mr. Ray Harris, as usual, wonderful. We can't complain about what he's had to say, ever. He's been part of our lives for a number of years, and he continues to be. When we were putting this group together, we asked him one day to speak at one of our Zoom meetings, and he led the meeting throughout. We've had Brother Jermaine take part. It's not been easy for him, but he's got support locally that really provides the kind of assistance he needs for him to participate in our meetings, and we've been very pleased that has happened. Mr. Volney, I met today with Rupert Lance, one of our teachers, and if any of you pick up one of those books there, you'll see one of the class pictures, and Mr. Rupert Lance is in it. And I met him in town earlier today. I'm sorry he couldn't be here. He said he had some medical matters to deal with. But he is one of those people that has been part of the school since we were there. And he says he's going to be, 78 or something like that in a few months. And he's still there. Heather Elwin was one of our teachers. She's still at the school, I understand, after all this time. So people who are and have been part of SMA will always be SMA. So thank you, all of you, for participating, and thank you for providing the kind of support that SMA needs, because it definitely needs it right now. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
I don't have it. Just want to thank you, Joe, Victor, Luis. I thought you would have given the program for the rest of the activities just before we leave. So Alvin, just give us the program and then we will have the refreshments. Okay, so you can start with the refreshments, but then the program, Alvin. By the way, the greatest, after I say who is the greatest, you say SMA. Who is the greatest?
SMA.
Who is the greatest? Magatan's out. Who is the greatest?
SMA.
Have some refreshments while we give you the program for the rest of the reunion.
Yeah, well, just very quickly, guys, the bar is open. I think our featured dress speaker indicated, have a drink. The bar is open, the snack hors d'oeuvres are open, you know. Enjoy yourself, have fun. Okay. Tomorrow we have an island tour, and that is Tuesday. Wednesday, we have this educational forum where we're looking at the changing local, regional, and global realities of education. Thursday is Reggae Night at Paradise Pier, Labadee, SMA Old Boy, and Friday we have the big concert. The Signal, the Dice, the Daddy Chess, you name it. All that is going to take place at the St. Gerard's Hall. $50 a ticket, $25 for students, $60 at the gate. That's on Friday. So we look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you guys for coming. Have fun, have a drink, socialize, exchange. Cecil Clark has some books at the back for sale. Cecil Clark, an SMA Old Boy.
Okay, Cecil Clark has some very interesting books at the back. You could have a look while you have some fun interacting. Cecil Clark, check his booth. Some music from Mr. Mix while we socialize.
Get something together.